Hey there, thanks for watching. Today I'm going to break down two shots from an indie drama I directed recently called Move In. We shot on the Arri Alexa Mini with Arri Master Prime lenses. Enjoy! In this scene here, she's really upset, but she's also happy. She's upset because she misses her ex. She's happy because she's going to an art show. I've always loved shooting Blue Hour, and so I'll just go over kind of what I think works here and why it works. So the first thing is the subject. She's an amazing actress. She's super good on camera, of course. We lit her face with a 600X, so you can see that right here. And we walked that out onto the road as far as we could safely so that it was sidey and it didn't hit this part of her face here. This looks good because of the fall off from light to shadow. It makes her face jump off this image three-dimensionally. Another thing that works here is the frame within a frame. We're shooting through a window on her into another window. That always looks great. Another thing is the eye light. You can actually see her eyes are pooling. The water, that little white little line there is from the tears. Another thing is the raindrops on this window. So when you're shooting through multiple panes of glass, interesting things always happen. And in this case, we were lucky where the street light was actually beaming through. It was just on the other side here. And these little pings of light are from the street light. So if you look at how beautiful those pings are, that's coming from the street light. Okay. Now the street light itself was fantastic. It lit up these raindrops. It also lit the back of her hair. So that's another reason it looks good. All these things, and then of course the beautiful parallax and the follow focus, keeping her in focus pretty much the whole way. All those things are the reason it looks really good. Okay, if we look here, we had the 6-foot Dana Dolly, we had the Alexa Mini and Master Primes. We also had neg fill in the car here, and what that did is it just ensured that we kept clean shadows right here, just because there were some cars going by. I didn't want there to be any light pollution potentially. And that was it. Really simple and clean. Otherwise, we could have spent more time negging potentially, but we didn't have too much time. And this is definitely, I think, the most beautiful shot I've ever captured in terms of just everything working, as good as it could. I'm very, very happy with it. So on to the next shot. This one where we are at this big beautiful location, and what's happening here in the scene is he's trying to get her back, and she's not sure if she's going to take him back or not. Now, why does this look good? What works here, what doesn't? First and foremost, look at the background. I can't control these lights in the back. We didn't have the crew, so these are basically like these pot lights that are just shooting against the wall here. And the temperature was like 4,500 Kelvin or whatever, but we had to basically work with that. So I took that, I basically tried to match her exposure to that, which I think I did pretty well. We're shooting into the corner of the room. Never shoot like flat this way or this way, but shoot into the corner. And that always gives you lots of geometric variety, which you can see here with these stands in the background. We placed the extras strategically. So there wasn't too many. We wanted to keep this art visible as they talked, because this is her art that he's jealous about, and that's why they broke up, and he's trying to get her back. So the art is a character in the film, and so we wanted the art to have its own spot. So that's kind of the background, right? None of this light back here is us. And then you can see these spectral highlights. Those are actually reflections of the pot lights that are hitting these walls. And the only thing we can control are the extras, and we just tried to fill as many as we could realistically. Now, looking here onto the subject, what we did was the overhead. So if you look here at the plan, This is a 6x6 overhead with the 4x light mat going through the overhead for nice top lighting. We have walls of neg. We have muslin sheets. And that, if you look at the BTS, that's exactly what we have. So this is me. It's actually a photo of me working. But you can see we have we have a wall of negative fill. We have muslin, that F21C, aperture F21Cs behind that muslin. You can see them. You can see one of them right here. So that's shining through the muslin. And that muslin, the whole point of that was just to get us a bit of fill on here, if we so needed. To be honest, it was a little bit of an error. There wasn't enough power to get through the muslin. What I should have done is made this silk, not muslin. And then I would have been able to dial in the fill a bit more, because if you look here, we kind of lose his jacket. We lose her dress a tiny bit there. I don't know. I mean, I've shown it to some people. They think it looks, they like the way it looks, but I don't like to lose anything 100%, especially on the main subject. And then the main event here, of course, is the 6x6 silk with the 4x light mat going through it. So you can see that this, compared to the plan, this is why I draw these plans, because when I got here, I was able to tell everybody really quickly. I was like, I want a wall of neg. I want 2 walls of muslin so that I can control fill coming through those muslins. We want a 6x6 overhead with the light mat, with the with the like boomed overhead. Okay. And I knew that it would get me something pretty like this. I was able to show this to the team, and we were able to execute it quite quickly. So that's basically how that worked. Now just bear with me. Yeah, the other thing here that I think looks good is the filtration. So we actually used quarter mist, and that just gives this bloom to this light. It just makes things a little bit more creamy in the background. Now, I think in terms of what I would have done to improve this, I already talked about it, but I would have got a little bit more fill. I also think it feels a little lit, but everybody says they love how it looks. One thing that worked really well, again, is the checkerboard. So light, dark, light, dark. You see how her face, it's just a beautiful line right there. I think that's my favorite part of the image, is right here. And she's the main character of the film, so it is what it is. And I should have avoided the black jacket. Should have got something, maybe brown. And then maybe this was a gear limitation, but ideally this would have been an 8x8 about 4 feet taller, because then what we would have had is less fall off. You see the difference of exposure on her face and her arm? That's because of the proximity of the light, which is basically right here. So because it's so close, the inverse square law is you have the fall off is noticeable. But I think here, this is the pendulum building in Vancouver, and this is literally a steel pendulum that's swinging, and we were only about a foot away from it right here. So obviously we can't obstruct that. Yeah, so overall though, happy with these 2 images, and they both served the story very well. I mean, here the whole point is that she's become a great artist, and we can see her art in the background. Oops, sorry. Right, as they're talking, which is super, super important. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching.